Okay, so we're diving into the world of finance today, specifically what it takes to be a relationship banking manager. We've got a career guide, interview tips, even some info on AI tools. A lot to unpack.
Yeah, it's a lot to process for sure. You've really got to come prepared for this kind of career.
Right, this RoleCatcher career guide really emphasizes that. It paints a picture of this role that's not just your typical banker, stuck behind a desk all day.
Definitely not. This is way more high stakes. You're the go-to person for your clients, so you need that financial know-how, but also, like the guide says, top-notch people skills.
It sounds like you're basically a trusted advisor, guiding them through all things money.
Exactly. You're building those relationships, figuring out their financial goals, what they need, and then recommending products and services. It's a lot of pressure, but the earning potential and career growth, those are huge.
Okay, so big rewards, but also some serious challenges. I mean, the guide mentions long hours, the pressure
Mhm.
to meet sales targets. That's intense.
Oh, absolutely. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. You need resilience. The guide lays out a career path too, starting as a relationship banking officer and then, potentially moving up to associate executive and finally manager. But the thing is, at every level, it stresses the need to keep learning, keep getting those
Like
certifications.
it's not a learn it once and you're good kind of field.
Nope, not even close. The financial world changes constantly, so you've got to be hungry to learn, always evolving your skills.
And speaking of evolving, that article you sent, Beat the Automated Recruiter. Mind-blowing. AI is analyzing resumes now.
It's a whole new ballgame. The hiring process has changed completely. That article really drives home how important it is to understand these AI systems.
So it's not just about sending out a generic resume anymore.
Nope. Your resume has to resonate with algorithms and humans. And that's where tools like RoleCatcher come in. It analyzes what employers are looking for in those job postings.
So it's like a cheat sheet for your resume.
Pretty much. They can tell you exactly what to emphasize and even suggest certifications to boost your chances. It's all about standing out, showing your value.
That's wild. But even with all the skills and tools, how do you know if this is even the right path for you? The guide talks about certain personality traits being crucial. Being a people person, a strong communicator, passionate about finance, NDD, helping others. That's a lot.
It boils down to connection. You're not just handling transactions, you're becoming a confidant, someone they trust with their financial well-being. It takes a special kind of person, that's for sure.
So it takes more than just book smarts. It's about emotional intelligence too. What stands out to you so far about all of this? What's got your gears turning? You mentioned emotional intelligence. That actually reminds me, the guide talks about that too. It says you don't need to have like banker stamped on your forehead to be successful here.
It's more about those transferable skills. Think about your background, any customer service, sales, even just working in a fast-paced environment, that all translates.
So those experiences actually matter for a career in banking. Who knew?
They can be super valuable. The guide even suggests playing them up in your resume and cover letter. Like, did you ever have to deal with a tough customer? Close a deal under pressure? Those stories show what you're capable of.
It's about making those connections, showing how your experience fits.
Right. And don't be afraid to let your passion for finance show, even if you haven't worked in a bank before. Did you ace a finance course? Do you follow the markets? That enthusiasm makes a difference.
I love that. Okay, so you've got the skills, the passion. Now what? The guide has this whole section on career stages. It basically maps out the path from entry level all the way up to the top.
It's like a roadmap to that dream career. They break down each stage, even give you potential salary expectations, plus examples of what your day-to-day might actually look like.
Tell me more about that. Like, what does a typical day even look like for a relationship banking officer just starting out?
Okay, so picture this. You're fresh out of college, eager to prove yourself. You'd probably spend a lot of time shadowing those senior managers, seeing how they handle clients, soaking it all up. Plus, you'd be analyzing financial data, learning the ins and outs of different products and services. It's a steep learning curve, but hey, that's how you build a strong foundation.
Okay, so paying your dues, learning the ropes. Then what? What happens when you move up to that associate role?
Ah, now you're getting your hands dirty. As an associate, you'll likely have your own clients, building those relationships, figuring out their financial goals, and that's where you start recommending those additional products, the ones that actually benefit them, what we call cross-selling.
It's like leveling up. More responsibility, higher stakes. What about that jump from associate to executive? What's that like?
Well, now you're not just managing clients, you're leading a team. You're coming up with those big picture sales strategies, mentoring those junior employees, maybe even overseeing a whole team of banking professionals.
Wow, okay, that's a big change. Seems like leadership skills become crucial at that point.
100%. You need to inspire your team, motivate them, create a good work environment. It's not just about you anymore, it's about the whole team's success.
And of course, there's that top spot, the relationship banking manager position.
The top of the mountain. As a manager, you're calling the shots, setting the strategy, making sure your team is hitting those financial goals. It's high pressure, but the rewards, they can be huge.
Okay, so you've got me convinced I'm ready to climb this ladder. But remember that article about the AI recruiters? That kind of freaked me out.
Oh yeah, it's a whole new world out there. It's like that algorithm is the gatekeeper now. You got to impress it to even get in the door.
So how do you make a resume algorithm friendly? It all seems a bit much.
Well, you got to understand how they work. That article talked about how they scan for keywords, skills that match the job description. You need those front and center.
So it's like learning a whole new language just for your resume.
Kind of, yeah. But luckily, there are tools like RoleCatcher, that's what they're designed to do, optimize your resume for the AI and for human recruiters.
So it's not just about stuffing it with keywords then. It's got to be strategic.
Exactly. Their AI can actually analyze your resume, compare it to the job description, and suggest ways to make it stronger. It can even point out skills gaps.
Hold on, you can do that. Tell me more about this skills gap thing.
It's pretty cool. It basically tells you where you might be lacking compared to other candidates. Like maybe there's a specific skill or certification that's in high demand and you haven't highlighted it enough. It's all about getting that competitive edge.
Wow. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
Exactly. And honestly, these days when companies are getting flooded with applications, having that edge can make all the difference.
It's not just who you know anymore, it's how well you use these tools. Speaking of, the guy did mention salaries for relationship banking managers. And they look pretty good. Definitely a motivating factor.
Oh, for sure. The earning potential is there. But keep in mind, it varies a lot. Experience, location, the company itself, and of course, your own performance, how well you do.
So, got to put in the work, prove your worth.
Right. But the guide makes it clear, as you gain experience, move up that ladder, the earning potential goes way up. Plus, there are often performance-based bonuses.
Bonuses, everyone loves a good bonus. Tell me more.
Right. A lot of relationship banking managers can earn significant bonuses based on, hitting their targets, bringing in big clients. That's where it can get really interesting.
So, yeah, it's a demanding job, but the rewards match the effort. I like it.
Yeah.
But let's be real for a second. The guy did mention some downsides, too. What were those again?
It's not all sunshine and roses, that's for sure. It's demanding, fast-paced, you got to be able to handle the pressure. The guide specifically mentioned the potential for long hours and the need for some, shall we say, flexibility.
Flexibility. You mean those late nights at the office, working weekends, that kind of flexibility?
Yeah, sometimes. When you're dealing with people's money, things don't always stick to a 9-to-5 schedule. You might need to be available to meet clients on their time, go to industry events, even take calls after hours.
And it's not just the time commitment, right? It's the responsibility of managing people's money, their financial well-being. That's a lot to carry.
You're dealing with people's dreams here, their hopes, sometimes their fears, too. You need empathy, you got to stay calm under pressure. It's a lot more than just numbers on a screen.
It's like being a financial therapist as much as a financial expert. Speaking of which, the guide also talked about the importance of ethics in this profession. It's not just about making money, it's about doing what's right.
Exactly. You're dealing with something incredibly personal, people's hard-earned money. The guide talks about building trust, being honest and transparent, always putting your clients first, and of course staying up to date on all those financial regulations.
So it's not enough to be good with numbers, you got to be ethically sound too. It really highlights how important trust is in this kind of role.
100%. Clients need to know they can rely on you, that you're giving them good advice, that you've got their back.
Okay, so you've got the ethics down, you're building trust, but the finance world is constantly changing. How do you keep up?
You got to be proactive. Go to those industry conferences, read all the financial publications, even webinars, online courses. Those can be helpful. And honestly, don't underestimate the power of just talking to other professionals, picking their brains, sharing insights.
Networking, it's like its own form of currency. And while we're talking about valuable assets, those certifications the guide mentioned, those seem pretty important too.
They're like gold stars on your resume. Having those certifications shows you've got that specialized knowledge, Employers see that and they know you're serious.
It's like leveling up your character in a video game. Those certifications unlock new skills, open up new opportunities.
Exactly. They can give you a real edge, especially if you're aiming for those top management roles.
So definitely worth considering. Now, let's talk about the actual interview process. The RoleCatcher platform has some really cool resources for that.
Thousands of practice questions, all organized by career level and skills. It's incredible. You can really tailor your prep.
I like that it's not just generic interview questions. They have questions specific to banking, like about different products, your sales skills, even how you handle tricky client situations.
It's like having a sneak peek behind the curtain before the big show. You can walk into that interview feeling so much more confident.
And they have that AI-powered feedback feature,
Yeah.
which is wild. You record yourself answering questions, and then it analyzes your delivery, your content, even your body language.
The tech is pretty amazing these days. And it's not just about the tech itself. They also have really good advice on, the whole interview process.
Like what to wear, how to make a good first impression, even how to negotiate your salary.
Exactly. They've got you covered.
It's about being prepared for anything. It's interesting. The guide stresses how important it is to build a professional network. It's not enough to just have the skills. You got to know people too.
Networking is huge in any field, but especially in finance. It's all about making connections, building relationships, and tapping into that collective wisdom, learning from those who've been there.
So how do you break into that finance networking scene? It seems a little intimidating.
Honestly, just put yourself out there.
Yep.
Industry events, conferences, those are great places to meet people, join professional organizations, connect with people on LinkedIn, and don't be afraid to reach out to people for informational interviews.
Informational interviews are such a good idea. I need to do more of those.
They're a great way to get your foot in the door, ask questions, get advice. You never know. That informational interview could even turn into a job opportunity down the line.
You're right. It's all about making those connections. It strikes me that a lot of what we're talking about, it applies to other careers in finance too, not just relationship banking manager.
Totally. A lot of these skills are transferable. Whether you're into investment banking, wealth management, even the fintech world, a lot of it carries over. You need that strong foundation in finance, those communication and interpersonal skills, and that genuine passion for the field.
It's about finding your niche, what really excites you. There are so many different paths you could take.
That's what's so cool about it. It's a huge field. Don't be afraid to explore different areas.
Exactly. Specialize in a specific area of finance, work for a specific type of company, even start your own thing.
It's a really exciting time to be in finance.
It is. But before we get too carried away, let's go back to something we talked about earlier, finding the right fit.
Right. It's not just about getting a job in finance. It's about finding a company culture that aligns with your values, your work style. Otherwise, it's just a job, and who wants that?
Absolutely. The guide talked about some of the personality traits that are well suited to this kind of role. Being a people person, a good communicator, someone who builds rapport easily.
And you've got to be driven, able to handle those high-pressure situations, someone who thrives on challenges.
It's not for everyone, that's for sure. So how do you even know what kind of culture is right for you? It's not like they put that in the job description.
You got to do your research, check out their website, read reviews from employees, and most importantly, ask questions during the interview. What's their work-life balance like? What are their values? Don't be afraid to dig deep.
It's your career. You deserve to be happy. Now, before we move on, let's address the elephant in the room. What are some of the biggest challenges facing the financial industry right now? And how might those impact, someone wanting to be a relationship banking manager?
That's the million-dollar question. The financial landscape is always changing. We're talking about huge technological advancements, increasing regulation, and, let's be real, a lot of economic uncertainty.
So how does that all play out in the day-to-day life of a relationship banking manager?
Well, for one thing, fintech is disrupting everything. Traditional financial institutions are having to adapt rapidly to keep up.
So being tech-savvy is more important than ever.
Absolutely. And then there are those regulations, they're getting more and more complex, and compliance is non-negotiable. You have to know the rules of the game.
So it's not enough to understand finance, you got to understand the legal side too.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the economic climate. We're talking market volatility, global events, even the possibility of recessions.
So how does a relationship banking manager navigate all of that? It sounds like you need to be able to handle a crisis.
It's about being that steady hand, that voice of reason when things get crazy. Clients need reassurance. They need someone to help them make sense of it all.
So you're not just a financial expert, you're a therapist, a counselor, a guide.
Pretty much. It's about building those deep relationships, the ones that go beyond just numbers and transactions.
That human connection is key. It's what makes this job so unique. Okay, so as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are the biggest takeaways you want to leave our listeners with? With everything we discussed about technology and the future of finance, it makes you wonder, what does this all mean for the future of a relationship banking manager?
It's the big question, right? Are we all going to be replaced by robots? And honestly, some of the stuff in that guide about AI and automation, it really makes you think.
Right. It's like, where do the humans fit in when everything's driven by algorithms?
It's not all doom and gloom. AI can definitely handle some of those more routine tasks, the data crunching and such. But can it replace that genuine human connection? I don't think so, especially when it comes to something as personal as finances.
That's a good point. People want to work with people, especially when it comes to their money.
Exactly. But that doesn't mean things won't change. The relationship banking manager of the future, they're going to need to be super tech savvy. Not just using tech, but understanding it, leveraging it.
So instead of competing with the robots, they're teaming up.
Exactly. Think about it. You're sitting down with a client and you've got AI working in the background, maybe analyzing their spending habits, finding investment opportunities they haven't even thought of. That frees you up to really focus on building that relationship.
Wow, that's a game changer. It's like having a superpower.
Right. And it lets you offer even more personalized advice, which is what it's all about.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's thinking, this all sounds amazing, but where do I even start? What's step one?
Get
Wow.
that experience, even if it's not glamorous at first. Internships, part-time jobs, volunteering, anything to get your foot in the door.
Show them you're serious, willing to learn the ropes.
Exactly. And don't forget about networking. Go to industry events, even if it feels awkward at first. Join organizations, connect with people online. Just make yourself visible.
It's true. It's not just who you know, it's who knows WSU.
100%. And networking isn't just about handing out business cards. Follow up with people, share interesting articles, offer to help, build those relationships.
To show them you're bringing something to the table.
Now you're getting it. Oh, and one more thing. Never stop learning. This field changes so fast, you got to stay curious, always be growing.
Read everything you can, take courses, go to conferences, follow the experts online. It all makes a difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of relationship banking managers. Hopefully, we've given you a good sense of what this career is all about, the skills you need, the challenges, the amazing rewards.
It's a fantastic career for anyone with a passion for finance, who loves working with people, and who's not afraid of a little hard work.
Absolutely. So if you're feeling that pull towards the world of finance, take that next step. Do your research, network with people, see where this journey takes you.
And remember, the future of finance needs people like you. People who can build those relationships, offer guidance and support, and help others achieve their financial dreams.
That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you back here soon for another deep dive into the careers that matter.